What's going on, guys? This is another episode here of Nolan. It's Nolan's Playbook. Today's first hot topic I'm giving you guys is Sam Darnold versus Baker Mayfield and their showdown, them going toe-to-toe. My second hot topic is the red-hot Detroit Lions are going against the struggling Cincinnati Bengals and Jake Browning. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold had a duel for the ages. It was a lot of games that I could give you guys for week 5 because week 5 was a week. But if I did not give you Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, I would be very, very wrong. Baker Mayfield was 29-33 for 379 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 5 carries for 15 yards. Rachaad White had a nice game. He had 14 carries for 41 yards, 4 receptions for 30 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Emeka Egbuka had 7 receptions for 163 yards and 1 touchdown. Sterling Shepard had 4 receptions for 24 yards and 1 touchdown. Let's flip it to the Seattle Seahawks side of things. Sam Darnold balled out. He was 28-34, 341 yards for 4 touchdowns and 1 key INT for Sam Darnold. Kenneth Walker, 10 carries for 86 yards. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 8 receptions for 132 yards and 1 touchdown. A.J. Barner had a nice game. He had 7 receptions for 53 yards and 2 touchdowns. Troy Horton had 3 receptions for 39 yards and 1 touchdown. Zach Charbonnet had 9 carries for 36 yards and 1 touchdown. This game in the first half was off to a very, very slow start. It was 6-0 Buccaneers off of 2 field goals made by Chase McLaughlin. The Buccaneers did not get their first touchdown in this game until Rachaad White scored a touchdown and made it 13-0. That was the first touchdown of the game. Going into halftime, ending the first half, Sam Darnold leads his team on a nice drive. They drive the ball down the field. He hits Jackson Smith-Njigba on a skinny post route ran by Jackson Smith-Njigba on an easy touchdown. It's 7-13 going into halftime, Seattle. They come out of the second half with momentum. You have Zach Charbonnet running it in for an easy touchdown. That makes it 14-13 at that point in the second half. A.J. Barner, I told you he had himself a game. You have Sam Darnold hitting him on the next drive, on the next Seattle Seahawks drive for an easy touchdown. Sam Darnold rolled right. A.J. Barner was in the back of the end zone. Easy touchdown. It's 21-21. Baker Mayfield, however, he comes back and he leads his team. Rachaad White scores a touchdown. At that point, it's 28-21. So you have A.J. Barner. They get their respective 2 touchdowns. Rachaad White gets his respective 2 touchdowns. He has a 2 touchdown game. At that point, it's 28-21. A.J. Barner, he scores another touchdown. At that point, it's 28-28. Going into the fourth quarter, this is where the game gets interesting. You have Sterling Shepard score a late touchdown that ties the game 35-35. Before that even happened, Troy Horton for the Seattle Seahawks gives Seattle the lead 35-35 off of a touchdown thrown by Sam Darnold. So we all thinking Seattle's in control of this game. They have a solid defense. They're going to be able to contain Baker Mayfield. But Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, each time Baker Mayfield does something, Sam Darnold does something. Each time Sam Darnold does something, here comes Baker Mayfield. So they were going toe for toe, tit for tat, tit for tat. They were going at it. Sterling Shepard ties the game. Baker Mayfield scrambles. And he makes something out of nothing. And there you go. The Sterling Shepard touchdown. We're tied at 35-35. The next Seattle Seahawks possession, Sam Darnold and his team has a chance to do something. They have a chance to go win the game. Sam Darnold gets pressured. He panics. He throws an interception. Devontae David read what Sam Darnold was trying to do, and he intercepted it. And that's what cost Seattle this game. On the flip side of that, all the Buccaneers need to do is just score. When Sam Darnold threw that interception, unfortunately, the Seattle Seahawks were on the Buccaneers' side of the field. So that made it just that much more easier for the Buccaneers to try and score to win the game. Chase McLaughlin, easy field goal, game-winning field goal to win the game. Score ends up being 38-35. What lost Seattle this game was the turnovers. Seattle had 2 turnovers. They had a fumble and that INT that I just mentioned that Sam Darnold threw at the end. If not that, Seattle probably finds a way to win this game. They deserved to win the game. They just couldn't pull it out. The Buccaneers were the better team. Passing first downs. The Buccaneers had 17 passing first downs to the Seattle Seahawks 18. Both teams had 6 rushing touchdowns. On third down, the Buccaneers were 7 of 11 on third down. The Seattle Seahawks were 6 for 9 on third down. Passing, the Buccaneers outpassed Seattle 370-341. The Seattle Seahawks outran the Buccaneers 122-56. Penalties, 4 penalties for the Buccaneers, 7 penalties for Seattle. And then the turnovers. I mentioned Seattle with the turnovers. The Buccaneers didn't commit any turnovers. We have to give credit when credit is due. Baker Mayfield has turned his career around. He's been balling out for 2 years ever since he got to the Buccaneers. We have to give him credit because we know how things went in Cleveland. And he's way past that point now. He's balling out with the Buccaneers. And he is in the MVP conversation. Y'all know that I'm not fond of Baker Mayfield. I'm not fond of Baker Mayfield at all. But on this podcast, we keep it all the way 100. And we give credit when credit is due. Baker Mayfield is balling out. And he is in the MVP conversation. And he deserves to be. Although his team is 4-1. And they have won their 4 games off of 1 possession games. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs just lost last night. The Chiefs are 0-3 in 1-score games. And you have the Buccaneers who have 4 wins in 1-score games. And the Chiefs are 0-3. That tells you everything you need to know. It doesn't matter how you get it done as long as you get it done. A win is a win. Even though Chase McLaughlin had to come in and save the game when they played the Jets, when they played the Falcons, and just this week when they just played Seattle and kicked 3 game-winning field goals. He's getting the job done. They're getting the job done. So we have to give them credit. Give Todd Bowles, head coach, a lot of credit for this defense. This defense is a good defense. They come ready to play. They get after you. I know they allowed 35 points to a high-powered offense in Seattle. But honestly, nobody is stopping Sam Darnold right now. Nobody's stopping Sam Darnold. If you thought last year Sam Darnold being with the Vikings was a fluke and it was just a 1-year thing, he has proven that wrong so far. He balled out in this game. He had 341 passing yards for 4 touchdowns and just that 1 mishap with the INT. That's it. Other than that, he balled out in this game. He's been balling out all season long so far, and he also deserves to be in the MVP conversation. We know things did not work out with the Jets. It didn't work out. At one point, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield were on the same team with the Carolina Panthers fighting for their careers. And now they're on their respective teams. They go toe-to-toe with each other. And this was one of the best games of Week 5. You could make that argument. So we had to give those 2 QBs credit. It was a great game. And we transition into my second hot topic. The red-hot Detroit Lions going against the struggling Cincinnati Bengals and Jake Browning. Jared Goff had another nice game. He was 19-23, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns. My only concern was Jared Goff was sacked 4 times, and he had a fumble loss that was recovered and forced by Trey Hendrickson. You remember Trey Hendrickson wanted that contract extension? He wanted a new contract? Yeah, that's why, because he gets after the quarterback. David Montgomery had 18 carries for 65 yards and 1 touchdown, and David Montgomery actually threw 1 touchdown. He threw 1 touchdown to Isaac Tesla off of a trick play. You know Detroit, you know how they get down. they like to throw in the trick plays in the playbook, and it was one of those trick plays that David Montgomery was able to hit Isaac Tesla for an easy touchdown. Detroit got off to a fast start in this game. Sam Laporta went and scored a touchdown off a play-action pass from Jared Goff. That made it 7-0. Sam Laporta had 5 receptions for 92 yards. And then Detroit, they scored another touchdown to make it 14-0. That was the David Montgomery throw. And actually, that was to Brock Wright, not Isaac Tesla. That was to Brock Wright. So, my mistake on that. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 8 receptions for 100 yards. And yeah, at halftime, it was 14-3 at halftime. The Buccaneers could not get anything going. Jake Browning has been struggling. The Cincinnati Bengals really didn't get anything going until the end of the third quarter. Jake Browning was 26 of 40 for 251 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, but Jake Browning also had 3 interceptions. He was sacked 2 times, and he had 4 carries for 31 yards. Jamar Chase had a great game. He had 6 receptions for 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns to Jamar Chase, Jake Browning is scrambling right, and he has nothing at all, and he just throws it to Jamar Chase, just hits Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase, being Jamar Chase and doing Jamar Chase-like things, catches the ball for a touchdown. That gives the Bengals some kind of hope, not a lot. The second touchdown that Jamar Chase scores is a 3rd and 14. It's a blown coverage by Detroit. Jamar Chase gets past the defense, and he scores a touchdown on a 3rd and 14. Inexcusable on Detroit's side of things to let Jamar Chase get past the defense and score a touchdown like that. But Andre Yosivach had 5 receptions for 82 yards. T. Higgins had 3 receptions for 22 yards and 1 touchdown. He had an easy little out route that he ran for an easy touchdown. That was Jake Browning's 3 touchdowns. Jake Browning's 3 interceptions came from Alex Anzalone, Amick Robertson, and Kirby Joseph. All 3 of those interceptions, Jake Browning's trying to force the ball to Jamar Chase, and it was just awful throws on those 3 interceptions. Samaje Perine had 4 carries for 27 yards. Chase Brown had 8 carries for 27 yards. He also had 7 receptions for 21 yards. I told y'all that Jake Browning was not it. The final score to this game ended up being 37-24. I told y'all 3 weeks ago, Jake Browning is not it. They need to go out and get Kirk Cousins. They need to go out and get somebody like a Jameis Winston. The 3 touchdowns that Jake Browning threw, it was nice. It was good, but at that point, it was really too late. The 3 interceptions that he had, he's trying to throw to Jamar Chase. He forced the ball to Jamar Chase on those 3 throws, and that's why he got intercepted. If not that, Cincinnati's comeback that they were trying to make, if not those 3 interceptions, the game might be closer than what it was, if not those 3 mistakes by Jake Browning. He had a better second half, but in the first half, the score was 14-3. They got a field goal going to halftime. That's it. Other than that, they wasn't able to get anything going. Detroit's defense was all over them, and Jake Browning looked absolutely horrible. So bad that Zach Taylor and them was getting booed going into halftime. So something has got to change in Cincinnati. Y'all need to get a quarterback. They already don't have a good defense in the Bengals. So if y'all not going to have a good defense, y'all offense without Joe Burrow is going to have to execute to the fullest, and Jake Browning's not able to pull that off. So go out and get a quarterback. I told y'all that 3 weeks ago. And everybody was kind of like, oh, Jake Browning, he's been there before. He's done that. This team has played with Joe Burrow being hurt. This is a different season, a different year. And it's proven that y'all need Joe Burrow really badly because y'all start 2-0 and now y'all are 2-3. Y'all on a 3-game losing streak. Joe Burrow's not coming back anytime soon. And It's just not looking good if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan. For Detroit, Detroit stays red hot. Remember when Detroit lost week 1 against the Green Bay Packers and everybody was looking at John Morton like, what in the world are we doing? Well, since then, they have won 4 in a row and they're 4-1. And they have averaged 34 points a game in those 4 wins. In this game, they scored 37 points. And they're going to Kansas City to face a Chiefs team that's not hot right now. They are not hot right now. They just lost last night to the Buccaneers, and Detroit has a good chance of going to Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs. That won't be a surprise if that happens. But we have to give credit when credit is due. Dan Campbell, John Morton, y'all have got this team back on track. It was panic after week 1. Y'all said, no panic. We got it. We gonna ball. They doing their thing without Ben Johnson. They doing their thing without Aaron Glenn. And Detroit's rolling. So, with that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. Tomorrow, I'll give you guys NBA because the NBA is back. On Western Conference preview tomorrow. Thursday, we preview the Eastern Conference. Come back for more of Nolan's Playbook, and we are out of here.